Ryan Moore, and on our right, trainer Aidan O'Brien. And Aidan, looked like your horse was wonderfully prepared today, and it was only a matter of Ryan finding some room for him.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy. You know, he's Brian gave him a super ride. He's a typical Henry the Navigator. He's been crying out for fast ground all year. His dad was the very same. Henry's 2-year-old career, when he was a racehorse, it was soft, so he didn't do anything like we thought he would do. This horse was the same, and all the Henrys have been the same. We've been like destroyed with soft ground in Europe all year, but we always felt the minute the ground turned for him. Ryan rode him in Deauville in a Group 1 over 6 furlongs, and he was very happy with him, even though the ground was even a little bit on the slow side. Been working very well. The two horses have been working well. Ryan always wanted to ride this horse and always believed in him. Gave him a marvellous ride and quickened up really well. We're delighted.
That was Breeders' Cup win number 7 for Aidan, and Ryan number 4 for you. You had, of course, the 2 with Conduit, last year with Rote, this year with George Vancouver. The pace wasn't slow. It was very honest, but you were always surrounded by horses. As you turned for home, clearly you had a lot of horse under you. Were you ever concerned that you were going to be able to find a little seam to get your horse through there?
No, the whole way around he was able to save a lot of petrol. He travelled very easy, and he only had a very small gap, but had that much horse. He had plenty to go through there, and I was in front a little bit too soon on him. It's you always think it's a short straight here, but it's a little bit longer than people give it credit for, and when he got there, he just had a look and hung out to the right. So I think there's maybe a bit more in the locker.
We should mention the same winning owners of George Vancouver as with Rote, Derek Smith, Michael Tabor, and Mrs. John Magner. We'll throw it open for questions, and as a first reminder of the day, folks upstairs in the press box may ask a question by getting it over to Ed Golden, and he will phone it down. Meanwhile, questions here in the room for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien. We'll start with Tom.
Aidan, curiously, when this horse broke his maiden, you raced him at Dundalk on the all-weather. So my question is, even in July, was the juvenile race, the Breeders' Cup, was one of your objects at that time, or objectives?
Yes, yeah, we always thought he was a very good horse. His first 2 runs were in very bad ground, and then Joseph said we'd go to Dundalk with him for the fast ground. He went there and won very easy. We were always thinking that he would be, a mile would be fine for him, even though he has loads of speed, but ground was always what we were hoping would make the difference. And obviously Ryan had rode him, he had great confidence in him from Deauville, and he thought that this race and this track and this ground would really suit him.
Thank you. Well done, Aidan. Well done, Ryan. My question comes in 2 parts. First one, Aidan, you look like you have a really good Derby prospect on your hands in Kingsbarns. Is this a potential 2,000 guineas horse? And secondly, how important is it for Coolmore and for Ballydoyle to be represented strongly every year at this Breeders' Cup?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure, listen, it's Breeders' Cup is the Olympics of flat racing. At the end of the year, all the best horses from all over the world are here. It's somewhere everyone wants to be, and it's vital for the breed and the pedigree of all the horses. So is he a Guineas horse? We always thought he could be. Ground is vital to him. And obviously today he showed that a mile is well within his compass next year. So obviously delighted really.
Additional questions in the room for Aidan and Ryan?
Ryan, you must have been conscious yesterday of all the European horses getting hemmed in on the rails. Was there never at any stage a worry in your mind that you'd get out?
Well, as I said, the horse travelled well and I had lots of horse. Yesterday, we weren't quite steady in those races, and when you go slow and all the horses are still travelling when they turn in, it's harder to find room, but there's a bit more pace on there and they were racing further enough out. You can just sort of make a bit of room when you have a bit more pace in the race.
Ryan, 14 horses, some relatively inexperienced horses, short run to the first turn. Did you find it to be a relatively roughly run race at all?
No, I had a very smooth race, and that's what you need in these sort of races. You need a bit of luck and things to work out for you, and we had that today.
Okay, and yes, Tom?
Jockey Ryan Moore, the last 2 years you got hurt and possibly it cost you the British riding title, and many of the big plum races this year got away from you. How satisfying is it to win a race like this at the end of the year?
Yeah, obviously it's frustrating when you have injuries, but that's part of racing, and it'd be nice to get through a year in one piece in future, but it's not the end of the year yet. There's still a bit of time, Japan and Hong Kong's, and so we'll see.
Aidan, can you enlighten us on the name? What's George Vancouver, or who's George Vancouver?
I'm afraid I can't. Took me a while to learn how to pronounce it, so I can't enlighten you much. No, it's. I'm sorry. Sue names all the horses, obviously. I don't know how Sue puts such good names on the good horses. Obviously we're rating them. The lads are rating them from the time they're born, and we're rating them from the time they come in as yearlings. And as far as I can see, any of the ones that I rate usually end up to be the bad ones, but Sue is always able to work it out and get the right names on the right horses. So it's obviously Sue looks at the horses, looks at the comments, and then makes her own mind up, and she watching the work reports as it goes along. So and that's how they're all named, really. But it's a very difficult thing. But it's very difficult to get the good names on the good horses, which she seems to do every year.
Well, what made him stand out from the crop that you had early, that you thought he was going to be really good, and it was just a matter of ground?
I remember early in the year, we had 10 Henry, the Navigators, and at early in the year, in April, 6 of them were working like group class horses, so we were very excited about that. And we were starting to dream. But the one thing they all had was speed. But usually when you have speed, one thing you have to go ahead is ground to use the speed. And this summer has been so bad with us, I can't tell you. So most of the races have been slogging races more than speed races. So I suppose the answer that what he had is speed, and it's what they seemingly all have. But ground is a must to go with that, we think.
All right, well, Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien, second straight win in the juvenile turf, last year with Rote, this year with George Vancouver. Congratulations.